Hey guys, welcome. So now we are gonna go to our lesson C. We are gonna talk about verb tense contrast. What it means is we are gonna learn how to use number of times and time expressions together, okay? Because sometimes we want to use both expressions, number of times and time expressions together, and we are going to learn how to use them properly, okay? So first, one thing you have to know is that we have to use number of times and times expressions with verb tenses that convey the idea of repeated actions or repeated events. So, look, let me write here. So we are in our lesson C, page 62 in your student book. So verb tense contrast. Okay? Good. So we are going to use number of times and time expressions together with tenses that gives us the idea of repeated actions or repeated events. For example, we use it with simple present. Okay? You just have to look at your student book, okay? Also, we use with simple past. Actions that repeat, actions that are habitual, events that repeat, okay? And we use also with present. I'm gonna abbreviate a little bit here. Present perfect, okay? And let me give you examples. Daniel works. See? Simple present, simple present. Now, I want to use number of times. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, many times, several times, okay? And I want to use also a time expression. For example, a week, each month, last year, okay? So always, number of times comes here. Number of times goes here. And then the time expression. Okay, first the number of times. Daniel works. What? What do you want to say? Oh, 5 times. Number of times answers the question, how often? Okay? Or how often? 5 times. Time expression answers the question of when. So 5 times, when? A week. Okay. Daniel works 5 times a week. See? So always the number of times first and then the time expression. Why? Because if you say Daniel works a week 5 times, that doesn't sound good. Okay? That's the correct order. That's the correct. Okay. So now let's talk about the past. Simple past. Remember that verb tense contrast, we are talking about verbs that repeat an action, that repeat an event. So simple past is one of them. Let me give you another example. So, my wife And this, because this is simple past, let me give you studies. And now remember the number of times first. And then time expression. Time expression, remember, answers the question when. So studies twice a day. Okay? Now, there is another tense that talks about repeated action or repeated event, and that is present perfect. Remember that present perfect is verb to have in the present form plus the participle. Okay, so you have to remember that. So let's do this one. So let's talk about we. We, now verb to have, we have. We have gone. And then you can have something, an object here, okay? We have gone to Florida. Oops, sorry. Florida. An A here. We have gone to Florida. You can do how many times? Once. When? Once this year. Okay? So this is how you use repeated action in the present or in the past, and using number of times and time expression. Okay? So please, if you have any questions, feel free to send me your questions. But now, let's jump to the next part of the class, and let's do some exercises.
Okay, so now we are going to practice. We are going to do exercise 2A, page 62. I need you to remember that we are talking about repeated actions, verbs that gives us the idea of events or actions that repeat. And what we are trying to do is to build sentences that show the number of times and the use of time expressions together. So basically what you're trying to answer is you're trying to tell the idea of when and how often an action happens. Okay, so remember that we are trying to express the idea of repeated actions. This can be done with simple present, simple past, and present perfect. And you're trying to answer these two questions in the same sentence: how often and when. Okay, so take a look at this example here that we've we, we studied before, but now we are going to put this into practice by doing this exercise 2A. Okay, so now let's take a look at exercise 2A. So exercise 2A is asking us to complete the story with the present, present perfect, or past forms of the verbs. So you have the story here, and you have here the verb, and then you have to decide if it's a simple present, simple past or present perfect. Okay, and you have to pay attention to the time words, you have to pay attention to the context to know which one is the right verb. Okay, so let's try to do this together slowly, and so that you can understand, and then you're gonna do uh, and then you're gonna do if you did it right, you're gonna do the correction. Okay, so let's take a look here. So let's go move on with our correction. Okay, so sharing with Sally. Sally Sutherland created Sharing with Sally, a volunteer organization that helps seniors stay connected with the outside world. The organization has delivered over 5,000 dinners to seniors so far. And I want you to take a look here. This first sentence that is an example. The organization has delivered over 5,000 dinners to seniors so far. Uh, how do you know you have to use here present perfect? Because of so far. Okay, so far is the idea, is the time phrase that gives you the idea that this action is it repeated, it repeats, the action repeats, and also repeat until recently. Okay, um, let's continue now. Sharing with Sally. Now you have begin and 6 years ago. So pay attention to the time phrase 6 years ago, and now remember which verb you can use with 6 years ago. Only past. And what is the past of begin? The answer is began. Okay. Sharing with Sally began 6 years ago. Several times a week, another time phrase. It gives you the idea when the action happens. So probably we are looking into simple present, but let's keep looking. Let's keep reading, okay? Several times a week, Sally and her volunteers. What is the simple present of deliver? Deliver, okay? And it's deliver because it's a compound subject here, so it's plural, okay? Sally and her volunteers deliver meals. Talk is also simple present, okay? Deliver meals, talk to seniors on the phone, and they are all connected, so visit is also simple present. And visit the ones who can't leave their homes. Continuing, over 200 people volunteer at Sharing with Sally. Jake, a college student, volunteered all last year. Oops, all last year. It it gives me the idea of past action. So the verb that goes here is the simple past. The simple past of volunteer. Volunteer is a regular verb. Volunteered, ed. Because again, volunteer is a regular verb. Okay, take a look here. Continuing. Jake, a college student, volunteered all last year. We were talking about last year, so continue. He called. Okay, last year, he called elderly people on the phone once a week and talked to each person because call is a regular verb, talk is a regular verb, and then called and talked. He said it was a very valuable experience. Betsy, a 35-year-old mother of two, Volunteer, again, simple past. Volunteered for 2 years so far and loves it. Okay? I know it's sometimes kind of complicated, but I hope you got the spirit of it. We're going to continue to practice. I do encourage you to practice by doing the workbook. But now I want you to listen to the audio, okay? And follow the reading.
Page 62, Exercise 2A.
Sharing with Sally. Sally Sutherland created Sharing with Sally, a volunteer organization that helps seniors stay connected with the outside world. The organization has delivered over 5,000 dinners to seniors so far. Sharing with Sally began 6 years ago. Several times a week, Sally and her volunteers deliver meals, talk to seniors on the phone, and visit the ones who can't leave their homes. Over 200 people volunteer at Sharing with Sally. Jake, a college student, volunteered all last year. He called elderly people on the phone once a week and talked to each person. He said it was a very valuable experience. Betsy, a 35-year-old mother of 2, has volunteered for 2 years so far and loves it.